A strange quiet has begun to fall over certain corners of American retail. Once bustling aisles now echo with silence, and the familiar hum of commerce has faded into an uneasy stillness. The absence is palpable, as if the very heartbeat of these places has slowed. Empty parking lots and shuttered Walmart supercenters now stand as stark symbols of economic anxiety. Where there was once a steady flow of shoppers and cars, there is now only the occasional passerby, glancing at locked doors and darkened windows. Rumors of closures ripple through small towns and online forums, fueling uncertainty. Conversations in coffee shops and posts on social media are filled with anxious speculation. Will the next store to close be theirs? The sense of community is tinged with worry as neighbors wonder what the future holds. For families who relied on these stores, the loss is immediate and deeply felt. It's not just about convenience, it's about access to affordable groceries, school supplies, and everyday essentials. For many, these closures mean longer drives, higher prices, and a growing sense of isolation. If a giant like Walmart is struggling, what does that mean for the rest of us? The uncertainty spreads, touching everyone from employees to customers, and raising questions about the stability of the broader economy. The recent wave of closures, officially blamed on underperformance, comes amid persistent inflation and supply chain disruptions. Rising costs and unpredictable deliveries have made it harder for stores to keep shelves stocked and prices low. These forces directly impact the cost of everyday essentials: milk, bread, school supplies. Families are forced to make tough choices, stretching their budgets further as prices climb and options dwindle. The story of these closures is rooted in policy decisions made years ago, especially tariffs imposed during the Trump administration. These measures, intended to protect American industries, have had far-reaching effects that are only now being fully realized. Designed to protect American industries, these tariffs triggered price hikes and logistical nightmares for retailers like Walmart. The cost of imported goods soared, and supply chains became tangled, making it harder for stores to operate efficiently. Today, the consequences of those trade policies are clearer than ever, creating a challenging environment for even the most resilient companies. The ripple effects are felt not just in boardrooms, but in every household that depends on affordable goods. This is more than a story about a company. It's about the economic well-being of a nation and the future of how we shop. As communities adapt to these changes, the question remains: what will fill the void left behind, and how will we reshape the way we live, work, and provide for our families? For decades, Walmart has been more than just a retailer. It's been a lifeline for millions. In many towns, especially rural ones, Walmart is the main source for groceries, clothing, and pharmacy services. Its promise of low prices has helped families stretch tight budgets and provided a sense of stability. Walmart is often a community's largest employer, anchoring local economies and serving as a gathering place. When a Walmart closes, it leaves behind job losses and a diminished sense of community. The company's struggles are a barometer for the health of the entire economy. If families cut back on spending, Walmart feels it first. Its fate is tied to the financial well-being of the average American household. Walmart's stability is in many ways a measure of the American dream itself. The link between international trade policy and the price of a t-shirt at Walmart is direct and impactful. What might seem like distant decisions made in government offices or at international summits can actually have a real, tangible effect on your everyday shopping experience. When you pick up an item and check the price tag, you're seeing the end result of a complex global process. Tariffs imposed during the Trump administration placed taxes on billions of dollars worth of imported goods, many from China. These tariffs were designed to protect American industries, but they also meant that companies importing goods had to pay more at the border. Walmart, sourcing much of its merchandise from China, was hit hard. Everyday essentials, from clothing to electronics, were suddenly more expensive for the retailer to bring in. At first, retailers tried to absorb the costs, hoping the tariffs would be temporary, or that they could find ways to cut expenses elsewhere. But the tariffs were too substantial to shield consumers forever, and the financial pressure kept building. Eventually, these costs showed up on your receipt. A product that cost Walmart $10 to import might now cost $12.50, forcing shelf prices up. Even small increases on individual items can add up quickly when you're shopping for a full cart of groceries or household goods. The result, a slow, steady increase in the cost of living for American families. Each trip to the store started to feel a little more expensive, and budgets were stretched thinner. Small price hikes across an entire shopping cart add up to a significant burden. Over weeks and months, these incremental increases can mean families have to rethink their spending or cut back on essentials. For struggling families, this tariff tax meant making tough choices. Deciding between buying enough groceries, paying bills, or saving for emergencies became even more challenging. The impact wasn't just higher prices. Tariffs also created supply chain chaos. Products that were once reliably in stock started to disappear from shelves, and restocking became unpredictable. Retailers scrambled to find new suppliers, leading to shortages, delays, and further cost increases. The search for alternative sources often meant paying even more or settling for products of different quality. Walmart's once smooth supply chain was thrown into disarray. The company had to adapt quickly, but the ripple effects were felt by shoppers across the country. Tariffs didn't just make things more expensive, they made the entire system slower and less reliable. For millions of Americans, the consequences of trade policy became clear every time they shopped, as higher prices and empty shelves became the new normal. To truly grasp the complexities of our current economic landscape, it's essential to demystify tariffs and understand how they ripple through the global supply chain. Tariffs are often discussed in the news, but their real-world impact is more far-reaching than most people realize. At its core, a tariff is a tax placed on imported goods. The idea is to make foreign products more expensive, which in theory encourages consumers to buy domestically produced items instead. This policy is designed to protect local industries and jobs by leveling the playing field between domestic and international producers. During the Trump administration, tariffs were heavily targeted at Chinese imports, with the stated goal of shielding American manufacturers and preserving U.S. jobs from overseas competition. However, in practice, it's not foreign governments or exporters who pay these tariffs. Instead, it's American importers, major retailers like Walmart, who are responsible for paying the extra costs when goods arrive at U.S. ports. These retailers then face a tough decision: either absorb the increased costs themselves, which can hurt their profits, or pass those costs on to consumers in the form of higher prices on everyday goods. The reality is that most products sold at Walmart and similar stores aren't made in the U.S., so finding alternative suppliers is often difficult, time-consuming, and sometimes impossible in the short term. As a result, the tariff essentially acts like a hidden sales tax on American consumers, making everyday essentials more expensive for families across the country. This added cost disrupts the intricate global supply chain that companies like Walmart have spent decades building, introducing new challenges at every step, from sourcing to shipping to stocking shelves. Tariffs create extra expenses and friction, forcing businesses to renegotiate contracts, search for new suppliers, and sometimes even shut down production lines, all of which can take months or even years to resolve. The process of adapting to these changes is slow, costly, and fraught with uncertainty, often resulting in price instability, product shortages, and empty shelves for consumers. Ultimately, while tariffs are intended to protect American industry, the unintended consequence is that the burden often falls on American shoppers, who end up paying more and facing fewer choices at the checkout. The impact of tariffs is clear in the data. Studies show American consumers and businesses bore nearly the full cost of these import taxes. Prices of tariffed goods rose sharply, with little change from foreign exporters. Economists from the Federal Reserve and IMF warned tariffs would slow growth and raise prices. For example, washing machine prices jumped nearly 12% after tariffs, and new vehicles cost over $1,000 more. These increases, while small individually, compounded across the economy, fueling inflation. Businesses relying on imports faced higher costs, diverting billions from hiring or investment. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York estimated tariffs cost U.S. companies over $40 billion a year. This weakened many businesses, making them more vulnerable to downturns. The financial strain spread from retailers to consumers, amplifying economic turmoil. Tariffs intended to help ended up hurting American wallets. Behind the numbers are real families feeling the squeeze. A single mother working minimum wage, once able to manage her budget, now faces impossible choices as prices rise. Middle-class families saving for a home or college see their progress stall as essentials become more expensive. Small business owners, including Walmart's suppliers and competitors, are squeezed by rising costs and shrinking demand. The closure of a Walmart means longer trips for groceries, lost jobs, and a hollowed-out community. For many, it's not about extravagance, it's about maintaining a basic standard of living. The tariff's human cost is measured in daily struggles and anxieties. Economic policy isn't abstract, it's felt in every checkout line and family budget. Walmart wasn't alone. Tariffs sent shockwaves through all of American retail. Target and Best Buy, also reliant on global supply chains, faced similar challenges. Target leaned on its private label brands and enhanced in-store experiences to manage costs, but still raised prices. Best Buy, hit hard by electronics tariffs, shifted focus to services like Geek Squad to offset losses. As all major retailers raised prices, competition weakened and bargains became scarce. Consumers found fewer deals, regardless of where they shopped. Industry-wide inflation reduced disposable income and forced cutbacks. The tariffs, meant to help, ultimately made shopping more expensive for everyone. Walmart fought back with every tool it had. The company used its scale to pressure suppliers to share tariff costs, delaying price hikes for consumers. Walmart accelerated efforts to diversify its supply chain, seeking suppliers in Vietnam, India, and Mexico. It also pushed to source more American-made goods, but domestic manufacturing couldn't fill every gap. Diversification was slow and costly, complicating Walmart's low-price promise. Ultimately, Walmart closed underperforming stores to cut losses and focus on profitable locations in e-commerce. These closures, though painful, were a strategic retreat in a tougher retail landscape. Walmart's response highlights the immense pressure facing even the biggest players. Walmart's closures are a symptom of deeper economic turmoil. Tariffs disrupted global supply chains, raising prices for American families. The costs were passed down to consumers, fueling inflation and financial strain. All major retailers felt the impact, reshaping the retail landscape. Walmart's strategies, tough negotiations, supply chain shifts, and store closures show the scale of the challenge. The empty storefronts are a stark reminder of policy consequences. In a global economy, actions meant to protect can have unintended costs for everyone. As the era of ever lower prices fades, we're left to wonder, what does the future of American shopping look like now?